kind of a funny deal because if people always ask me in private conversations, you know what I mean? Because
I think people like feel like, oh, I can't ask that question
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
it'd be
like,
almost like a
you know,
it would,
some
which
kind
is
of top secret deal that happened. Like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna ask.
yeah, no, that's cool, man. I totally don't mind talking about it. So the first thing I'll say about it is it's not, yeah, it's funny you like it's a top secret deal is exactly what it's not. You know,
Yeah, he's a
if you
dude, right? Just like any other dude.
yeah, I mean, he literally is. I mean, the thing that's funny about it, and I'll get into the story, but overall, my perception of Joe is like I've known him a long time, just from like, having a relationship really through like text messaging, couple phone calls, that sort of thing, mainly around like the hunting world. But he's one of those guys that for sure is his like if you watch his episode, like if you are a fan of his podcast and you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you know him, the reality is you do. Like I mean, he 99% of who he is exactly like how he is publicly. And so it's really interesting in that way because it just even to answer your question about how I got on there and all of that, like how he asked me to go on was just like, is it just exactly how you asked me to go on? Like, he just messaged me one day, through, we had a relationship that I never would have thought would have justified me being on the podcast. Like, it didn't really cross my mind, to be honest with you, because it was very much, I think I'd communicated with him for 7 or 8 years, all hunting related stuff. He'd have questions about certain type of hunts or gear or contacts in the in the hunting world, that sort of thing. And this started like when he was pretty new to hunting, and then he's progressed a lot over that period of time. But
Yeah, he
anyways,
was
that was all.
probably he probably got you, or you probably got him at a time similar to like where I'm at now, like a couple years in, but still like recognizing how much
Yeah,
you don't know, right? Like you know enough now that you can get out there, but also recognizing like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, if that makes any sense.
yeah. I think that's probably spot on, man. And he and he was just at that like soaking it all in type of period in like in his hunting,
Yeah.
kind of foray or whatever.
And
And so
you ended up, you're his Huckleberry.
yeah, or one of them. I think he. I mean, the thing about it is, he's Joe Rogan, so he has access to everybody, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
he can hit up whoever whoever's whatever he's interested in, he's going to get a response from individuals in that field. I'm honored that I was one of them, that he reached out to me. But a lot of other folks I know, he had Aaron Snyder on. He's had other guys in the industry that I know that he's had a pretty long-term
Yeah.
relationship from a hunting perspective with. But
Well,
yeah,
that was the first place that I saw you. Like
okay,
this was before I start. Like I saw you there. And then I started, watching all your YouTube stuff because at the time that I saw that, I was literally just getting into hunting, like
oh, okay,
at all. I'm a complete, like my brother's bow hunted his whole life. Um, but I spent 30 years on a football field as a player and then as a coach, and
sure,
so last year was the first fall I wasn't going to be on the field, and I was like, what am I going to do, next fall? And then I got
yeah,
tied into Bert Soren, who owns Sornex, who lives nearby, and he's kind of been a hunting mentor for me. He's been my Cliff Gray. He's the guy that I bug the crap out of when I got
oh,
questions.
cool,
um, so, but that's where I saw you the first time. Then I followed your YouTube channel, and then, here we are. I'm the same guy bugging the crap, asking you questions that he was
that's
asking.
all. That's all good, man. The
Yeah,
thing
so
is,
keep going with that.
yeah. So, oh yeah, the Rogan story. So basically, he
Hit you
in
up.
this, yeah, back and forth, always about hunting related stuff. That was pretty much what our relationship was about. And then, just in a text conversation, he's just like, hey, how about you do a podcast? And I remember just thinking like, it didn't quite compute at first. And I actually remember showing the text message to my wife, and she's always thought the whole she's always thought my relationship with him was kind of hilarious, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like you know, I would never talk about it because it'd almost be like weird, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, if somebody was like, if I was having dinner with somebody who's like a huge Rogan fan,
You're not
like
gonna
I
be
would,
like, Joe's texting me right now. You're not gonna do
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, but my wife would be like giggling over there. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he like, you know, it'd be like he talks to him all, you know, it's like, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of this
She knows the
weird,
joke.
yeah. But she always still thought it was like so weird that Cliff has like this pen pal that he claims is Joe Rogan. But you know what I mean? But anyways, I showed her the text and she's like, he means go on his podcast. And I was like, whoa. And then it kind of like it struck me like, oh, he wants me to go on there. And the funniest thing about it, to get to like the authenticity of the guy,
Right.
is I asked him, I was like, I pretty much asked him why, and then, hey man, like, you know, I've done a lot of podcasts and interviews in the hunting space, but I've done nothing even like remotely in the spectrum of the size of your show. Is there anything you particularly want to talk about? Is there something I should prepare for? And his response was like, hey man, you know, we've gone back and forth over the years, and I just never have much time to talk to you, and I'd love to just sit down and talk to you for 2-3 hours. And if you could do me a favor, just don't prepare. And I'm like, all right.
I'm good
You
at
know?
that. I can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that. I can do the not
yeah,
prepare thing.
yeah. He just wanted to have a conversation, and he's a great guy, like super, like tons of hospitality when I was there. Just a nice guy. Like, you know, that was the first time I actually met him in person, and you know, like, you know, comes through the back door just with like arms open for like a big hug type of guy. Hung out with him.